Okay, you guys, so I know a lot of you are having issues with the bright tone. Some of you are, some of you aren't. This piece I did 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I can't really remember. It's on my YouTube channel. It was a triptych. I did start using a component called Flow-Aid. I don't have the bottle with me, but essentially I would get the one by Liquitex. You can use a coupon at Michael's. I think all other art stores carry it. Use a coupon. And you mix it like 1 part of Flow-Aid to 20 parts water. But as you can see, there's no like crazing. And this was a flip cup. This was done with Floetrol and Liquitex pouring medium. It's pretty smooth. At Dollar Tree, also Walmart, they sell the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. It's the original. It has no soap in it. It has very small pores. Okay. I've compared it to a makeup sponge, and it's a lot more dense than a makeup sponge. I actually would like a seat cushion like this, to be honest with you. I just cut a wedge. Just like, whoop, just like that. A triangle. And this is the bright tone right here, okay? So I'm just going to fill my cup. See all them bubbles? All of those bubbles. In case you guys haven't noticed, like on my Art Addicts group, I talk in like, not Ebonics. You know, I try to make things interesting. But on camera, we're not trying to do that today. So I'm just going to let this sit for a second. I'm going to let the bubbles pop. I'm going to pause you guys while that happens. We don't want bubbles. Bubbles are bad. I mean, they're already popping. So give it a second, okay?
A few moments later.
Good enough. The bubbles are pretty much on the outer edge. That's fine. These 3 canvases, yes, they are the bloom technique, but they were used with Arteza paints. They were very heavily crazed. I don't know if you could see it, how some parts are raised and other parts aren't. That's called crazing. No crack. This is 2 coats of bright tone. Very, very shiny. This is 1 coat of bright tone. Arteza paints on an Arteza canvas. This has 3 coats on it, was very heavily crazed. If I went 2 more coats, I could probably fill in all the crazing. So, anyway, these were my, you know, experimental pieces, which I did 3 days after they were dry. So, let's say like 2 days of drying. I waited 3 days, and then I did this on all 3 of these because they all were made the same day. So, I did a barrier coat with the sponge, which I'm getting ready to show you. I let it sit 2 hours, okay? And then I came back with another coat like this. Then I let it sit overnight. And then I used a foam brush, not the cheap ones that you get at the dollar store or anything. You have to make sure that they're the foam brushes that don't have like the big air pockets in them. Or you can use a varnishing brush too. I will show you as well. This guy is now officially dry. I did this 4 days ago with a student. And I'm not very good at ring pours, by the way, so don't hate. I'm not doing a ring pour in like over a year. I can't really complain. And this was Floetrol paint and water with the Flow-Aid. Flow-Aid is a surfactant. Saskia Smith actually turned me on to this. She's got a video on it. But you can Google Flow-Aid and find out exactly what's in it. It makes your paints thinner without interrupting the binder. I mean, it will eventually if you add it too much. But like I said, it's 1 part Flow-Aid to 20 parts water. So it's highly concentrated. I have it in a bottle like this. And whenever I do other techniques besides the bloom technique, I always use my Flow-Aid. That's been like my magic ingredient. You can go back into my channel and see. I promise you. And as you can see, there is no crazing on this. And I really had to work for this canvas. This is also on YouTube, like I said. So what I do is I just dip my sponge twice in here, maybe wipe off the edges, and as if I'm wiping a countertop, I just go like this. Okay? I wipe it down as if I'm cleaning the canvas. Whoops. Now I'm running out, so I get a little more. Do not go back over what you did. Okay? My AC, even though I had to go back over, my AC is at 72 degrees. There we go. It's not even on right now. You can tilt it on an angle and you can see where you missed. So you can rub where you missed, okay? And then I just rub the sides like this. And that's it. I can, you know, shine it in the light and follow down and make sure I didn't miss any spots. Very thin. It's what I am calling a barrier coat. You're basically sealing off your paint for the next coat. You know, what climate, what temperature. Like I said, my house is at 72 degrees right now. The warmer, the better. I did experience cracking, so don't get it twisted. Like, I worked my way up to this. I thought about it, and I was like, man, I'm still too thick. I'm still too thick. I'll bring you down to eyeball level. I have no cracks going on. Usually cracking would start right about now. If you look and you see that you missed a spot, don't panic. Maybe rub your finger into it a little bit. It dries so quick. Underneath, it's still a little tacky, so that's why you need to give it that couple hours. You don't need to cover it. You don't need to do anything with it, but I'll bring it up to you. You can see no cracking. That is how I've been able to successfully use this varnish, which is great because the littlest bit goes the longest way. I mean, look at this, you guys. I haven't even put a dent in the cup. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, already, look how shiny it is just for the one coat. I'm going to dip my sponge in here. Now, if you have silicone or anything else that you used, of course, you don't want to do this until you clean it, of course. But I always keep my fingers like locked in the bottom. And then, like I said, we're wiping countertops. That's the best way to describe it to you. It is self-leveling. You don't want to push hard. If you move really quick, you can go back over yourself. But that is done. Okay? Don't ask me what made me say, let me try this. And I was like, there's got to be a way to do this. I'm standing in this, I don't know if you want to call it this sponge aisle. But I was standing in the sponge aisle of the dollar store and I saw the magic eraser for $1 when they're like $3 at Walmart. And I was like, ooh, hoorah, let me get some. And for $1, you can't beat it. There's sponges out there. I'm talking about sponges like this. I can't guarantee that these are going to work. Even though I've tried stuff like this before using other stuff. I did use one of these and it totally started falling apart on me. Little bits started coming off while I was wiping it on. Don't set yourself up for failure. Let's show you. 3-day-old ring pour with Floetrol. No cracking. One coat. Okay? I don't know if you guys have Ollie's by you, but I can get these from a 1/8 of a teaspoon all the way up to a cup. It's a pack for $1.99 and everything peels right out of it. As long as you get shiny stuff like this, everything, even the Brite Tone, will peel out of it because there's nothing porous for it to stick to. Somebody posted in Art Addicts about a barrier coat. Yeah, you can go that route and get the golden barrier coat if you'd like. I also use, I go to the dollar store and I get, it's an aerosol can, but it's a spray glass cleaner. And I wet a paper towel with water and I just give it like 2, you know, of the glass cleaner. And I have wiped canvases with silicone quickly, right? And I let them sit for a second. And then I come in with a cold paper towel of water, you know, wringed out, not saturated. And I wipe it off. And then I let it dry for the night. And the window cleaner is also a degreaser. It says it on the back, and if you read like the thing on it, it says like it's good for plastics, and I mean it rattles off a whole bunch of stuff. So I took a chance with it, and it worked, and it was $1. So I'm all about cutting corners, recycling, and saving money. For whatever reason, it works really easily with the bloom technique, but when you're dealing with thicker paints and thicker recipes, I'd really suggest doing the sponge coat first, and then you can even do 2 coats. You could even keep going if you wanted to, but it just depends on how much work you want to put into it. So I'm very heavy-handed. I'm just going to dip my brush in like that. And you got to remember, you have to go quick. So it's just like really quick strokes, you know, dip again, really quick strokes. And I just come back. If there is any lines, let it be. It'll self-level. Come around like this. Somebody said they used their finger and that worked. Cool. So usually if you get cracking, it happens within like the first 15 to 20 minutes. And then Karen had a good idea of taking it and, you know, rinsing it off in her second varnish video. You know, this is a very, very high quality varnish that allows you to be able to use things like the mugs and the hot, you know, coffee and soup bowls and things like that. But you could see how such a little bit went such a long way. Okay. So, hold on. So we're just going down without putting pressure. Okay? You just kind of let your brush glide like that. And that's my problem, because I'm so heavy-handed that a lot of the times I push way too hard. Like Karen comes in like, you know, ballerina, and I come in like a wrecking ball. It will self-level. One more time here, because I don't think I got all of this down. Nope, I didn't get all that down there at all. So now that we have that barrier coat down, you're not dealing with the acrylic anymore. You're dealing with the varnish that's down. You know what I mean? Okay, we're good. Yep, all done. So I got a couple bubbles. Bubbles will pop. Don't panic about that. All right, I've been talking to you guys for 8 minutes, and not a crack. There you go. Still wet in the center. That's okay. You know, this guy's probably going to need another coat. There you have it. You don't use hardly any of it. I have a gallon of this. I haven't even put 1/4 of a dent in the gallon yet, just by how little I use for everything. And you can use the Brite Tone on wood. They also have a shellac. People are using that on tumblers and stuff because it's sealing the metal. Yeah, if you had a piece of wood and you don't want to prime it because you're going to stain it, you can seal it with the Brite Tone by itself first instead of a primer, and you have the raw wood. So, you know, your stain goes on a lot easier. Lots of different stuff, you guys, and I plan on going over it in the next couple weeks. So consider this part 1 of like 10 tutorials for CRAFTNIQUE, and I'll be back to show you how it dried. So this is the next day, just to give you a little recap. Like I said, if there is any silicone on your paintings, you have to get that off first. You can do anywhere between 2 to 5 coats. I usually wait like 2 to 3 hours in between coats. CRAFTNIQUE suggests 2 to 4 hours. Depending on how many coats that you do, it can take up to 30 days to fully cure, so keep that in mind. But as long as you do those barrier coats, I haven't had any more trouble. So I hope the Brite Tone works for you as well as it's worked for me. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.